You're listening to the official Reformed Stoic podcast, covering politics, philosophy, theology, conspiracy theories. I'm ready to get to the bottom of this life. Are you? Join Wolfgang, Sketty Squad, Purity Gang, as we strive to take dominion over this dying planet. I am Reformed Stoic, and this is my podcast. Yo, 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 yo. What's happening? What's hoodie? What's footy? How are my friends today? Yeah, we got a few more mods around, guys. Sometimes some mods aren't here. More likely to have at least one mod in the building when we got more mods. Mods are cozy. I want that. I want Purity Gang. Alrighty, my friends. How are we doing today? So, obviously, the podcast took a little hiatus for, I believe, a full week there. I am feeling very mellow today. I did not get a very good sleep last night, and it was kind of a shocker. It's kind of a shocker, man, because you guys remember I did that long stream all day. I stayed up through my nap, never took a nap. I even took melatonin, and yeah, man, I lied in bed awake for a while. So, you know what? I managed to pick up some weed today. I have not smoked yet. That is not why I'm mellow. But I'm kind of ready to take a new direction with my channel, with my podcasts. I don't feel like there's anything in particular that got me feeling that way. I've just been trying to get some changes rolling for quite some time. Today's podcast is going to be just a bit different, a little bit experimental to see how it goes. We don't have any articles up. It's all news clips, and a lot of them are short. We have a bit more than 2 topics. It's kind of just like a free-for-all, just kind of like whatever is in the headlines. A little bit of everything. Going to see how it goes. On the horizon today, we got Biden meeting with Xi. We got a shooting just happened in University of Virginia. There's a strike going on in California, University of California. A little bit about the Mar-a-Lago investigation and Trump running again. A little bit about a few words from Pence on Trump, I believe. So just kind of a smorgasbord of a little this and that. And then we're going to finish it up with a little bit on the straight and narrow path. I'm not sure exactly how things are going to look for time today. I imagine it could be a bit shorter. And I am thinking about experimenting with some shorter podcasts. Now, I know a lot of people have been saying they love the intro. I got a lot of positive feedback on the intro. That's the reason I kept the intro for so long. I've been thinking about changing up the intro for a while now. This might be the last time you see the intro we have. Maybe we'll keep it. I'm just thinking of something a little bit more conservative, something a little bit more bland. It might get people worried at first that I'm kind of thinking of just like tightening up the podcast a bit. The vision that I have is it's just a little bit of headlines, man. We just kind of cover what's going on. I think this podcast should just kind of keep people in the loop. A lot of people are like, man, why are we watching news? Why are we watching normie news? Maybe like a little bit of news, a little bit of headlines for people who don't tend to watch the news. So we can kind of just stay in the know. We can just kind of stay up to date. I give a little commentary here and there, a little bit of my thoughts, but just kind of like a cut and dry news segment. I feel like things got a little bit repetitive in the past when I'm like trying too hard to find a lot of clips on the same topic. We'll experiment. I feel like things are ready for change around here. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get it cracking, my dudes. Boom. There we go. You're listening to the Reformed Stoic News segment. Let's go. Alrighty, guys, let's just go ahead. I think kind of like shotgun blasting a bunch of different topics might make things a little bit less stale. So let's go ahead and just take a look at our smorgasbord of jelly bean news today. We got a lot of short clips. We're just rolling through a lot of different topics. If something's interesting, maybe I could pull up an article. Maybe we could watch a couple more clips. Just kind of take it as it goes. I think I'll start being a little bit more open to the chat's suggestions. Like if I'm really missing a hot topic, you guys let me know in the chat and we can pull something up. The president's words were reckless. Former Vice President Mike Pence sits down one-on-one with ABC. So it sounds to me like Pence is kind of like speaking out against Daddy Trump a little bit. Let's see what's happening.
Former Vice President Mike Pence needed a moment to collect his thoughts when he sat down with our David Muir, saying former President Trump's words during the January 6th attack were reckless.
2:24 p.m., the president tweets Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done.
It angered me. But I turned to my daughter, who was standing nearby, and I said, it doesn't take courage to break the law. It takes courage to uphold the law. I mean, the president's words were reckless. It was clear he decided to be part of the problem.
Pence was overseeing congressional certification of the 2020 Electoral College results when the mob stormed the Capitol, chanting, "Hang Mike Pence," after Trump berated Pence for refusing to block Joe Biden's win. Videos show Secret Service agents rushing Pence to safety before he went into hiding for more than 4 hours, while at times rioters were only 40 feet away. Pence has largely avoided criticizing his former boss until now.
President's words that day at the rally endangered me and my family and everyone at the Capitol building. We are seeing a full-throated condemnation from the vice president.
In his new book, Pence describes the moment he told Trump that he would not block Biden's win. The president laid into me, Pence writes, adding that Trump responded by saying, "You'll go down as a wimp. If you do that, I made a big mistake 5 years ago." Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
The full interview with Mr. Pence airs on World News Tonight, coming your way here in just a little while at 5:30 today. That'll be followed by more coverage on the streaming channel ABC News Live and on Nightline later on tonight.
Well, guess what, Wolo? That was it. And that is one of the things that I'm thinking might be cool about the new format that I have visualizing in my head. That didn't come out right. Yeah, you know, a lot of these news segments are stupid. I understand why a lot of people don't even really watch the news anymore. Let's take a look at the comments when you call Dan Quayle for legal advice. He's a lawyer, and he tells Pence there's no way you can do this. That's pretty bad. Mr. Pence speaks almost 2 years later after the attack, a couple of days after the results of the midterm election are out, and it's clear Trump's power is dim. But Trump's words were reckless during his entire 2016 campaign, his entire presidency, and Mr. Pence, just like many more, was completely fine with those. You know, guys, I might try to tie a lot of these topics today in with the final Christian segment of the straight and narrow path. And hopefully a lot of what you're going to start seeing with me in general moving forward is I really want to walk that straight and narrow path. And a fair warning, guys, it might be kind of boring. I'm going to try to not be boring, but I cannot try to not be boring at the expense of walking the straight and narrow path. Because let me tell you where just about all political movements are going wrong today. Chaos, yelling at people, saying people need to be hung, breaking into the Capitol. That ain't peaceful. That ain't about love. That's not showing understanding. That's not showing maturity. But what about Antifa? Antifa throwing their defecation at people, trying to go watch Trump's speech, yelling at people, Black Lives Matter chanting that we want dead cops, assaulting people, killing people. That's not showing peace. That's not showing understanding. That's not showing maturity. And obviously around here we talk about how things are honeypots. We say that it kind of looks like Proud Boys and these far-right movements are glowing. It looks like Antifa and Black Lives Matter and these far-left movements are glowing. What do they all have in common? It's dragging people's character down. I find that when a metaphor works very well, it gets beaten to death. I really like Heath Ledger's Joker in The Dark Knight, and he takes Gotham's best and he drags him down to his level, okay? We talk about how the Laurel Canyon bands, the hippie movement was glowing, okay? The hippie movement was about something, and then it gets thrown out left field. It becomes something else. I'll tell you what, man. I'll bet that everybody who's in Antifa and in Black Lives Matter has positive things to say about Martin Luther King. I don't think Martin Luther King would have positive things to say about your movement because you guys are yelling at people. You guys are threatening to kill people. You guys are spurging out, man. Okay, Antifa is spurging out. Black Lives Matter is spurging out. You do not look like you're wise. You do not look like you're organized. You do not look like you're about peace. You look bad. Same thing with the Proud Boys. You guys do not look like you're wise. You do not look like you're about peace. You look bad. These movements are making you look bad. And at this point, you know, a lot of right-wingers are going far right. A lot of left-wingers are going far left. They're all unhinged. They're all out of control. They're spitting in people's faces. They're yelling. They're violent. They're crazy. And that's what makes me think it's glowing. You are being invalidated. You're being ruined. It's ruining you, man. And I'm going to try to set an example here. I'm going to try to set a positive example here. Get ready for mellow stoic, guys. Get ready for mellow stoic. I'm trying to figure out, like probably even right now, my voice is just a little bit high-pitched and squeaky. I'm trying to figure out how to just like calm down, have a better radio voice, be more chill, not be all like like wacky and zany. A little bit here, a little bit there. Straight and narrow path, guys. I feel like some of the things that have been happening in my life over the last few years, really my entire life, is kind of giving me a lesson. Sometimes I feel like God is teaching me about how, like I say all the time, God doesn't just have you do the hokey pokey. It's not just do it because I say so. The Bible doesn't say, and then Jesus said, eat a big handful of dirt because I told you to, for no other reason than just because I told you to. Do it or you're not a Christian. These things will improve your life. If you live the gospel, it will make you a better person. It will make your words more powerful. It will make people listen to you. And I'm ready for people to listen to me. I'm ready to stop blowing it. So let's read some of your guys' comments. Do you realize how many WWF fans there are in this country who would vote for Vinsu For Pence, you mean? What's the point? Democrats are going to win until we live in pods and eat the bugs. That may be so, but if people are going to listen to you, you have to seem like you're wise. You have to seem like you're not a nut. And I think just about all political movements are failing. And I think that my movement has been failing in that regard as well. I don't want to point fingers, but sometimes I feel like people in chat are kind of trying to keep me anchored down in what I used to be. It's making it harder to evolve. It's making it hard to grow. You know, if anything really gave me a wake-up call, it was Vegan Patriot peeing on that guy's face yesterday. It's like, wow, I don't want to have anything to do with this network. I don't have anything to do with IP2. That's not funny. That's not humor. That's not what I am, dude. That's not what I'm about. I think that might have changed my life. I think that might have been the moment I realized, you know what? I need to start really being a real Christian for real. No more games. Okay. We were fools to believe voting would somehow stop a bunch of billionaires' plans to make us eat the bugs. Well, guys, it's time to become the change that you want to see in the world. It's time to set a good example. It's time to start living it for real, man. Glowing, or is that people are losing their houses and families to liberalism? People tend to lash out when their family is starving. They do. They do tend to lash out. You know, when I lashed out in Vegas, some pretty crazy things were happening to me. But do you notice how people just don't understand that? You notice how, it doesn't matter? How many people who see my Pimpin' Pat clips are willing to hear me out when I say, hey, you know what? People were moving into my neighborhood. I was going through some pretty crazy stuff. They get a blank fluoride stare and they say, but you yelled at Uber Eats. And it just doesn't matter. When you lash out, people don't listen to you. When you lash out, it makes you look bad. It doesn't matter. Do you see how that's forcing you to walk down the straight and narrow path? Regardless of what is happening to you, you need to maintain calm. You need to maintain an image like you have strong inertia, like you're not easily moved, like you're not easily pushed from your center. It's hard for people to throw you off your center. By the way, not that we're talking about PUA and dating and stuff for the millionth time, but the same thing goes with women, man. When we're talking about shit tests, women are trying to get you to spurg out, okay? When they give you a little neg, they're trying to see if you're going to be like, why would you say that? I can't believe you said, no, that's not, they're trying to prove to themselves that you're not cool, that you don't have a strong center, that it's easy to throw you off, that it's easy to make you look bad. The whole entire world is just one giant shit test trying to make you look bad. I'm ready to stop looking bad. So that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm going for. Easier said than done. Where did the eat the bugs thing come from? I've never heard any leaders in this country suggest we eat the bugs. It's World Economic Forum stuff. Supposedly we're running out of food, so that's the easiest access to food. Man, I'll tell you what, when I watch that scene in Lion King where they're eating the bugs, it gets me ready for some cozy bug eating, but no, I don't think I want to eat bugs. You're right, but even when we took the high road, we were smeared by the news to look bad. There is nothing we can do in the grand scheme. Well, guys, the power of peaceful protest, the power of calmly stating your position, people are going to try to throw you off, man. They're going to try to make you look bad. I think it comes down to who looks worse. If Antifa is spurging out and then the right is standing there calm, being unmoved, being unaffected, that's the side that wins. Whoever is the least childish wins. Right now, I think nobody's winning. I think everybody's acting like a bunch of children. And maybe I'm one of the most childish people anybody's ever seen on the internet. I'm ready to change that. Watch me work, boyos. Cows are bad for the environment. Hey, Georgie. All right. So let's move on. Yeah, basically Pence doesn't like the orange man. What else is there to say about it? Mar-a-Lago investigation looms over Trump's run for re-election. Let's sketty. MSNBC.
I know that he's getting a lot of pressure from Republicans to not make an announcement because it could negatively impact the Georgia runoff. But even if he announces, being a candidate for president doesn't mean that you aren't subject to the laws and that you aren't subject to being held accountable for violations of crimes that you have committed in the past. And as Joyce said, there could be exculpatory evidence, but it's highly unlikely that if there was, we wouldn't have heard it. If there was, his lawyers would have announced. So I'm assuming that there's only more evidence against him than we already know publicly, and that is already sufficient to indict.
So speaking of what we know, Joyce, NBC has learned the January 6th committee's written report is going to focus on Trump's role in the insurrection. I wonder if that could be a signal to federal prosecutors.
So I think that this is part of the public record and the committee's focus. And in some ways, I regret this. I wish we were going to learn more about the information that the committee gathered about how this sort of imperfect storm of January 6th happened. What were the law enforcement failures, the intelligence failures that permitted this to happen? But I think you're right to suggest that their focus on Donald Trump is meant in many ways to signal their seriousness to the White House and to the Justice Department about just how much evidence they've compiled. We've talked a lot about the Mar-a-Lago investigation, and the evidence there seems to be fairly clear. The charges are simple. Ultimately, they're really theft charges and obstruction charges, theft of government property and trying to cover up the crime. January 6th is far more complicated. It requires a lot of evidentiary hurdles to link the former president into what we've seen, in many ways viewed as conspiracies to interfere with government functions. That's not to say that it's not doable, but it is a much more difficult case. So the committee, I think, is trying to send a message to DOJ about their level of seriousness, given what they've seen in the evidence.
Jill, your sense of if Trump's going to be able to run out the clock with his lawsuit against the 1-6 committee?
No, I'm not. First of all, there's now a chance that the House will be able to continue. There's also a chance that the investigation could be transferred to the Senate, which now is going to be again in the hands of the Democrats. But I think Joyce is right. I wish that the report that is coming, assuming that they do issue it before the end of the year, was broader. When we say January 6th, it isn't the insurrection on January 6th alone that I worry about. I worry about all of the other parts of his attempt to overturn the election and to undo our democracy. His pressure on the vice president, his fake electors scheme, his pressure on state legislatures. So I think there's a lot more to it than we have talked about, and we shouldn't be focused only on the insurrection.
I feel like Black Lives Matter and Antifa really had like multiple years on end of just constant spurgouts, constant chaos, constant hurting people and destruction. The right just had to screw up one time, you guys. That is all it takes. You get one, if you're about something and they get one piece of dirt on you, you screw up one time, you say one thing out of color, they will put it on the big screen in Times Square, and they will play it on repeat forever. And that is why you got to walk the straight and narrow path. That's why you got to be cool, calm, and collected. That's why you got to not let people under your skin. I feel like God is talking to me through the events of my life. He's trying to say, you see what happens when you make yourself look like a fool? You see what happens when you're not walking the straight and narrow path? You lose. Whoever's the coolest wins, but not the secular cool, the Jesus cool. Jesus was one cool cat, my man. All right, now, are they just trying to charge him with anything? Would a traffic ticket make them happy? Joyce Vance is a star with her clear speaking and logic thought process. They said they'd crime on TV beforehand. All right? Then they crimed on TV, and they've since spent nearly 2 years bragging about their criming on TV. How do these hurdles only exist when going after the rich. If any other citizen was found with these documents, they be arrested on the spot. Man, oh man. This is the best nothing burger I've had in a long time. Let's see what we got in the chat. The Great Barrier Reef actually fully came back, and then some, leaving all global warming scientists dumbfounded. So we're debating climate change. BLM, biggest scam ever. You got a guy from 2012 arguing with your chat. It's the past. That's what all politicians do. I'm bowdy. I'm bowdy. I'm bowdy, bowdy, bowdy. I'm going to charge $18 per pound of beef. I am. I want a burger, and an angry old Nazi want me to eat bugs. How come they didn't have facial recognition for all the burning, looting, stealing, killings during the BLM Antifa riots? But oh, wait, facial recognition. Ultimately, I think this two-party system is meant to divide us, set us against each other, and confuse us. I think that the majority of the truth is on the right, and that is why people hold the right to a higher standard. Antifa and Black Lives Matter are allowed to endlessly cause chaos, endlessly cry and scream and act like children because they're ultimately meant to suck in the lowest common denominators. The right has a bigger responsibility. The more you're about truth, basically, like, the better you are, the higher up you are in the food chain, the more is expected of you. And I think you just need to learn to be okay with that. It's time to just start knocking it out of the park, you guys, and it starts with you. It starts with you. It's not gonna be the majority. The majority is always going to fail, which is ultimately why democracy is, like, not really the way. Have fun eating your bugs. Chinese food is the only thing in the whole country that has inflated in price. Infaulted in price? Inflated in price. Infaulted? I'm going to kill an otter just for fun. No, bad. Not only that, but I'll keep replacing your menial jobs with robots. Science type. BLM looted and burned cities for a year. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. We have to be better than them. And I get it. It's not easy sometimes. Well, I think it is easy. I think ultimately we are better than them, but we're held to a higher standard, man. I've dealt with this on a smaller scale in my personal life. The people around me screwed up so much. I make a couple of mistakes. I yell at an Uber Eats driver. I make an inappropriate song. I'm going to be reminded of that stuff forever, man. When you're a bowdy, people are really going to highlight your mistakes. The henchmen of the New World Order, they're allowed to just run amok and burn stuff, and they're never going to be held accountable. And the sooner you just accept things the way they are, the sooner you're going to be able to win. I have not smoked any weed today, but I got some ready to rock and roll, guys. I streamed for like 10 hours straight yesterday. We're going to start going pretty light on the streams. We're going to keep doing the coffee streams in the morning, but I need some room for my head, man. I got some thinking to do. Disobey the laws, don't play their game, but sadly people don't understand that and keep coping with voting for a useless party. Let's be better. Don't spill the weed again tonight. Oh, I ain't gonna have that problem this time, bro. I'm all set for a while. I got hooked up. So what is this? Mar-a-Lago nothing burger? Cool. Moving on. Okay, strike by 48,000 University of California academic workers causes system-wide disruptions. Los Angeles Times. Let's see what this is about. There was no coffee stream today.
North people.
I believe that. I believe that we will win. Union makes us strong. I believe that we will win. When I say union, you say power.
Okay, so these are California academic workers. This is going to be about money just not stretching as far, which, you know, a lot of people have been pointing out for quite some time now. And as far as I know, I'm not exactly an economist, but it's not an easy thing to fix. The left has been talking about a higher minimum wage for quite some time, and the right is quick to point out, you know, if the minimum wage goes up, the prices are going to go with it, and there has to be a bottom. The bottom's always going to be the bottom. So if you take the bottom, and, you know, the bottom was $8 an hour, now it's $15 an hour, everything else is just going to rise with it. You know, you're putting your hand under the bottom and just pushing it up, and things don't really change. I'm not exactly sure how to fix the economy. I think it's incredibly complex, and a reasonable solution for you, you know, not trying to save the world, just trying to do what you got to do. Minimalism, baby. Just figuring out how to be content with less. I know a lot of people aren't stoked about it. It's like, oh, you know, you got to live in your tiny home. You got to eat the bugs. You got to, basically, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. And it does kind of seem like that's the direction we're being pushed. I'm not hearing like a lot of solutions on how to deal with that. And, you know, a lot of people resent the boomers because things were just better economically for the boomers. But it's time to start being the change you want to see, guys. If you ask me, the entire purpose of the alt-right was to make you an edgelord. Somebody in chat's talking about cutting yourself on the edge. I think that's just about what everybody's done. I think Antifa's cut themselves on the edge. Black Lives Matter cut themselves on the edge. And the alt-right, probably at the highest level, they don't want to admit this because you want to point out how everybody else is, but you kind of got to acknowledge the social norms. The alt-right, or whatever you want to call it, has cut themselves on the edge. You like triggering people. It's got to stop if you want to win. It's time to follow the example of Christ. It's time to look like adults. Be the adults. This can actually be the best thing that's happened to the students in years. Why the hell does any university have or need 48,000 workers? That is freaking ridiculous. No wonder tuition is so astronomically high. Those students are probably thanking God all these people fired themselves. LOL. Shouldn't take 48,000 people to operate a college. Yeah, I feel like they have a point there. Let's see what we got in chat. Cappy using meth. Okay. Is it in a tiny house eating bugs? Is that what you think? Well, that seems like it's what's coming. I'm not really sure how to avoid that. Enjoy your steaks while they last, boyos. Imagine not knowing how to grow crops and crying about eating bugs. Sounds like a you problem. You know, I have found myself becoming more and more interested in agriculture. I'm starting to think that's like what I wish I would have done, or maybe like what I'd love to just drop everything and do right now. Basically just living off the grid, man. I'd love to figure out how to build a home, how to dig your own electricity, how to like get your plumbing hooked up, how to just like go into the woods with nothing but a wrench, and then, like a month or a year later, you got a village. Like, you go somewhere by yourself with a few people and create the ability to eat and the ability to live and survive through the cold. And that's what the feds really don't like, man. I'm seeing more and more of these videos about people getting interviewed by the feds. A lot of survivalists, a lot of people living in cabins in the woods, canning their own food, growing their own crops, living without the system. The government does not like that. Bad. Bad. Serial is the edgy kid that spent too much time in 4chan, and now he thinks he has a very edgy sarcasm. I think that's a lot of our generation at this point. Reform Stoic, but the bottom has stayed the same while everything else went up. So we are just pushing the bottom to catch up with the rest. Yes. So basically, we do need $15 minimum wage. And what I've been saying is that I think the economics of the left, you see, both the two-party system has failures built into both of it, where I think conservatives are going wrong, and people are probably going to want to debate me on this right now. Capitalism overall, not really a great thing, guys. The system is capitalist. I don't think that commies and socialists rule the world. I know for a fact that our CIA absolutely hates communism. Doesn't mean communism is good. Karl Marx is in no way a hero. It seems like he's got ties to things like Freemasonry and Jesuits. But he was trying to answer a very real problem. We got these factories. There's the factory owners where their kids are playing the violin by the fireplace. Daddy, listen to my violin solo. And then everybody else is in the factories, starving, working their lives away. There's something wrong about that. There's something that doesn't sit right about that. Karl Marx maybe tried to solve that. I think maybe he pretended to try to solve that because he was establishment. That's how I'm starting to think. Capitalism's a problem, guys. But if we're not going to take it that far, like overthrowing the capitalist system, yeah, maybe it is time for a higher minimum wage. That might be one of the things that the left is right about. You want to fix it? Stop bringing in immigrants. It's a fact. The more workers you have, the less pay is in the market. Yeah, and that's another complex discussion because you're racist. It's hard to defeat the whole you're racist thing. And then we get to this is a country of immigrants. It's just like my whole philosophy is, why don't we fix the world? Instead of inviting people to our country, why don't we try to fix their countries? It's like, oh, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. It's like, well, I think we should make the entire world a great place to live. It's like, well, that's what we're doing with the one world government. Isn't it crazy how it's just like not that easy to fix everything, man? It's a Rubik's Cube. I was never very good at Rubik's Cube. My cabin will be finished next year. Hey there, buddy. You want to have a conversation about America? Glow, 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 glow. Psh, over. How can I join your podcast? You can close your eyes and pretend that you're joining the podcast. You're going down the wrong path, bruh. Gotta stream more. Quit weed, spurg, and then crank it. Yeah, see, I think that guy's a fed. Mods. Space Wookie gotta go. Yeah, it looks like he's gone. Good job. Karl Marx was a rich bourgeoisie with very stupid and useless hippie ideas of a 30-year-old loser that never worked in his flippin' life. Yeah, well, I'm definitely not pro-Marx, but the problem he was trying to solve, I think, is a real problem. I do not think his solutions were good, though it's been on my reading list for a long time. Gotta read Das Kapital by Marx. I already listened to the Communist Manifesto a long time ago. And there's other Marx. There's other stuff people were saying to read before Das Kapital. I'm going to have to take the Marx pill at some point. All right, moving on. Suspect arrested after shooting leaves 3 University of Virginia football players dead. More shootings, not good stuff. ABC News. This is a longer segment. Let's buckle up here.
Joining me now, ABC News' Faith Abube, who's live there in Charlottesville, right there on the University of Virginia campus. So, Faith, what more are we learning now about this suspect? Anything about him, how they found him, all the details?
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Kira. You know, that sigh of relief that the police chief was talking about, it is reverberating all across the campus here amid a really difficult day for UVA and the Charlottesville community. You know, the shooting suspect is now in custody 12 hours after that horrific shooting last night. It's still an active scene behind me. Authorities are still here gathering evidence. Authorities tell us that they received word of that shooting just after 10 o'clock last night. When they arrived, they found multiple victims with gunshot wounds on a bus full of students. The bus had just returned from Washington, D.C. There was a field trip for a class. They went to D.C. to see a play, and this was part of the university class. It's unclear at this point whether the suspect was enrolled in that class and was on the bus on the field trip, or if he wasn't, how he got on the bus in the first.
So I want to be mature here. My understanding is that that guy we just saw is the shooter, and he was black. It seems to me there's so many shootings, I'm starting to kind of lose track. It seems like we're starting to get some more black shooters, and I would just say approach with caution, proceed with caution. I feel like it's bait. Now, you should probably entertain the idea that some of these shooters are, like, real. Like, they're real people just really, like, shooting people. But I don't know, guys. I feel like I'm seeing a trend. Like, we're starting to see a couple more minority shooters. And if these are not legitimate, if this is all set up, if this is really just a big stage where everything's a lie, I think, how do I even describe this, man? They want people to spurg out about it. Oh, you see, he's a black guy, LMAO based, we did it, Pepe the Frog, like, seething cringe. They just want people to just look bad. It's time to just be mature about everything. Aha! It appears, sips tea, adjusts monocle, that we have an African-American shooter. And what do I have to say about that? Absolutely nothing. It happens. Some people go crazy and shoot people. And yeah, they're not always white.
First place, but 3 of the victims that he allegedly shot did die. 2 others are still in the hospital. They were injured. One of them is being treated. He's in critical. That person is in critical condition. At this point, the school has not identified the 2 other injured victims, but we do know that they have identified the suspect, Christopher Jones. As you said, he is a student here at UVA. He turns 23 years old this week, and he is a member, or he once was a member of the UVA football team, but according to the athletics department website, he never actually played in a game. This afternoon, we're hearing that he is facing several felony charges, including second-degree murder, using a handgun in commission of a felony, and we're also expecting investigators, as they get more information, they will be adding more charges to this. But as for what we are learning about him, well, police are still figuring out the motive behind the shooting. We're still learning some new details about him.
I mean, off the top of my head, a football player shot at other football players. He never got to play a game. Maybe he was a little bit bitter or not about, like, not being put into the game. It's like a really dark version of that movie Rudy. Let's not make jokes about this, guys.
Apparently, this is not the first time he's encountered authorities. According to police, he came to the attention of the UVA threat assessment team just this fall. He allegedly made a comment about having a gun to a person who was not affiliated with the university, but he didn't actually make any threats, according to police. And his roommate never actually saw him with a gun. And so we're not sure what happened to that case, but there was another alleged hazing incident. The circumstances of that still unclear at this point, but we are told the threat assessment team did disclose the investigation because they had to close the investigation, rather, because they really couldn't get a lot of cooperation from the suspect in this case. The threat assessment team also learned that there was a prior criminal incident involving a concealed weapon violation involving the suspect. This apparently happened outside of Charlottesville last year. School policy does require the suspect to report an incident like that, but according to police, he did not report this. And of course, all of these details are going to be part of the larger investigation into what happened, why it happened, and whether this could have been prevented. Kira?
Yeah, Faith, there is just so much to take in right now, and it was pretty remarkable right there in the middle of that news conference that they got word the suspect was in custody. All right, Faith, as you work your sources and more details, please let us know when you have more. We will come back to you. Meanwhile, we're going to bring in ABC News contributor and former FBI agent Brad Garrett. So, Brad, multiple law enforcement agencies, the ATF, Virginia State Police, so many involved in this investigation. So, considering the suspect was at large for more than 12 hours, I guess, first of all, what did you make of the police response? No one likes to see an alleged shooter on the loose, but 12 hours, that's pretty good. They must have gotten good intel on how to track him down.
So look at it this way, Kira. Every time there is a public shooting, in particular on a college campus, a public school, even a business, the federal, city, county, and state teams get together. So the FBI and ATF typically show up to offer assistance, a lot, a little, whatever the local jurisdiction actually needs, but they're used to working together. So start with that. The ability then to get the word out of Mr. Jones's identity of his car, and the tag number. That would go to all of the surrounding jurisdictions of Charlottesville. I'm going to guess Henrico County is not very far away. Did the police, it was on their radar via the word that was put out. They did, I'm going to guess, a car stop or some version of that, and took him into custody. But it does show you that the system and these various jurisdictions can work together because, sadly, we have so many shootings.
So let's talk about the fact that he was already on law enforcement's radar, and apparently it was tied into possibly a hazing incident among the football team. There were reports that he did have a weapon. What do you make? I mean, clearly, when we were hearing about his background, the fact that he was on the football team, possibly the honor roll, you're sort of shocked. It doesn't fit the typical profile, right? Then we start hearing about the fact that law enforcement did know about him, that there was something involved with hazing and the football team. It's all sort of piecing together now.
So we tend to make a mistake in sort of being stereotypic about who will commit mass shootings. And yes, you are correct. Many times we see maybe mental health, but certainly a troubled person outwardly. I'm going to guess that Mr. Jones has obviously his own set of issues here. Anger, rage, maybe uncontrollable rage. Maybe it's directed toward football, maybe not. I don't think it's a coincidence that the people he harmed were connected to the football team that he apparently either got kicked off of or was just not on it at the time of the shooting. And so, you have to start with that. If you look at what little we know, a person, Mr. Jones, some sort of violation in reference to a concealed weapon, maybe another comment by somebody that he said he had a gun, but the person never saw the gun. And then this hazing incident, as we both know, could mean all sorts of things, a big deal, not a big deal. But if you put them all together, I mean, what does law enforcement do with that? I mean, the number of people that are stopped with having guns that either aren't registered or they're in a jurisdiction where if you are carrying it concealed, it's illegal. Will that be noted? It was noted, I suppose, in a criminal record. But that's about all police can do with that. It's not a direct threat. It's much like when we start hearing about people online saying they're going to go do X. That's when law enforcement can do something about it. It's not a perfect system. We miss some of these shooters because of that. But we'll have to know more about were there indicators, real aggression, anger, rage indicators between Mr. Jones and the people that were shot, or maybe even the football team in general.
Yeah, it's still a lot we don't know. So just kind of looking ahead now, what are your biggest safety concerns as University of Virginia students start to head back to class? Clearly, it's rocking the campus right now.
Well, there is no doubt. I mean, it sort of shakes your, feeling of comfort. I mean, you go to college, you're typically young, but the college campus itself is kind of like a cocoon. You feel like you feel comfortable there, you feel safe there. And this, even though this would strike me as perhaps a targeted shooting, it still will make you feel not safe, at least for a period of time. In other words, somebody came on campus with a gun, a fellow student, and killed their other students, these football players. And so there's going to be trauma there for, I suspect, for some, an extended period of time they're really going to have to work through. And, the college itself sounds like, they are really offering help and will work with these kids to sort of get them through to the other side of, hey, this is really a safe place to be, and we're here to protect you the best we can.
And I'm told, we saw it just for a second there, Brad. We just got photos of the 3 victims: Lavelle Davis Jr., Devin Chandler, and Deshaun Perry. So those are the
black on black crime, man. Hey, it happens. It's not always racial.
Names of the 3 victims. We just got these pictures in, again, left to right. Lavelle Davis Jr., and then Devin Chandler and Deshaun Perry. We will continue to bring in, obviously, more information, learn more about these victims, hopefully more about the alleged shooter, Brad, as we continue our coverage. Brad, thank you so much. Thanks for rolling with me there.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC.
It's heating up out there, guys. Yeah, some interesting, maybe a little bit of evidence for a motive, something to do with hazing. Maybe he wasn't put in the game enough. And what you're seeing the state try to do is they're trying to create this like minority report kind of a system where it's like, how do we stop these shootings from happening? How do we detect these people before they attack? And that's where it starts getting tricky. And the idea is you live in a society that doesn't become this. And I think once you get this just mass system, when you get this mass system, when the population gets to a certain size and you're trying to follow the capitalist way of life where it's just all this cold and human, more production, more growth, more supply, more demand. The system is based on the numbers. It's not based on human emotions. It's not based on people. Unfortunately, I don't think that there's a way to stop it. When they're trying to predict it, it's ultimately just going to be used to take people's rights away. I got mixed feelings about guns. I wish we could live in the kind of society where we didn't need guns. It's tough. I'm starting to see a problem that has no solutions, and you need to start thinking like a Christian, guys. Obviously, I talked about the Wolfgang machine. Let's be real. There's no Wolfgang machine. There is a Satan machine, and it's not run by me. And that Satan machine turned on a long time ago, and it's on, and it's been running for a long time, guys, and evil things are happening all around us. These shootings, regardless of like whether or not they're real. I mean, they're real. People are really getting shot. People are really dying. The satanic machine is on. Terrible things are happening all around us, and I think now's the time to walk the straight and narrow path, to not get sucked into the world. The world is trying to suck you in, man. You want to act like you have all the answers. Oh, we just need to do this. And a lot of times your answer is going to be something that makes you look bad. A lot of times you're going to be wrong. This world wants to suck you into it. It wants to make you angry. It wants to make you react. It's time to just look out for you, for your own. If you're a family man, if you got a family, get your kids somewhere safe. Get your family somewhere safe. This machine has way too many problems, man. It's like a leaky dam. They're putting Band-Aids on it. They're putting bubble gums on the leaks. It's breaking down. It's failing. The system is failing. And, hats off for people who are trying to fix it and trying to keep it running. I'm always trying to improve my ability to figure out how to solve these problems, but I think this system's coming down, guys. Rip to the victims who passed, and my prayers for a full recovery for the injured victims. My heart breaks for the families. Yep, absolutely. Gotta be sensitive here, guys. People die in WWF all the time and come back as different characters. We live in a Call of Duty game. Everybody wants to everybody wants to go all in. You know, it feels good to like have all the answers. I did it. I'm smarter than everybody. I got all the answers. It feels good. But it's worldly. I agree, but I don't think communism is the solution. Maybe a multipolar economy. After all, we only know the America imperial type of capitalist economy. Maybe Putin is right. It's only a dream, but then again, dream on till your dream comes true, as Aerosmith says. Unfortunately, I find that when you're listening to the philosophy of rock and roll musicians, you're probably not going in the right direction. Ooh, can I be Randy Savage? Stoic has a crush on George Stephanopoulos. Hey, I don't know about that. I definitely do not. Bring back the one holy apostolic church and abolish the papacy and overthrow the mercantile order. Sounds pretty good, Billy Bob. Is your last name Thornton? I always thought he was a pretty smart dude. I love Sling Blade. Think of life like a movie or a WWF match. You know, it works. No, think of it. They're implying a revenge killing for hazing and social ridicule. Bugs. We should just eat bugs. Bug pizza. You know, that just about sounds good. I remember when people were talking about bugs, I had teachers talking about how they ate crickets and dipped it in sauce. I was kind of starting to think bugs sounded pretty good until the World Economic Forum is trying to shove them down our throat. I might not mind eating the bugs. All right, let's do funny rooster. I got to go to the bathroom. We're doing good on time. You know, the length of the podcast is probably going to stay about the same, but I'm liking today. I'm liking the shotgun topics, just covering all kinds of stuff. I think it's a little bit more interesting. Chicken trolling. Let's go.
Chicken versus alligator.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Do you have time to talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? Hey, don't run from the Lord. Where are you going? Wakey, 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 wakey. It's time for school. Come on. Wake up. It's time for school. Come on, man. Are you ready for school?
I got that on video.
Regardez, il est trop mignon. Dis piou piou. Oh. Dis piou piou. Oh, il m'écoute. Dis piou piou. Oh.
Chatty. Man, roosters are chads. Big time. They got that mohawk thing on their head, showing everybody who's boss. All righty. Last couple of videos. Hear what Biden and Z said to each other in first meeting as heads of state. Let's rock it. CNN. Gotta love them. Gotta love CNN.
And you and I have had a number of candid and useful conversations over the years and since I became president as well. You're kind enough to call me to congratulate me, and I congratulate you as well. And I believe there's a little substitute, though, to face-to-face discussions. And as you know, I'm committed to keeping the lines of communications open between you and me personally, but our governments across the board. because our two countries have so much that we have an opportunity to deal with. As the leaders of our two nations, we share responsibility, in my view, to show that China and the United States can manage our differences, prevent competition from becoming anything ever near conflict, and to find ways to work together on urgent global issues that require our mutual cooperation. And I believe this is critical for the sake of our two countries and the international community. This was a key to the theme of the COP27 meeting, where I spoke on Friday, and we'll be discussing a lot of these challenges together, I hope, in the next couple hours. And the world expects, I believe, China and the United States to play key roles in addressing global challenges, from climate changes to food insecurity, and for us to be able to work together. The United States stands ready to do just that, work with you if that's what you desire. So, President Xi, I look forward to our continuing and ongoing open and honest dialogue we've always had, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Mr. President, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you, President.
The last time we met was in 2017 during the World Economic Forum in Davos. That was already more than 5 years ago. Well, since you assumed the presidency, we have maintained communication via video conferences, phone calls, and letters. But none of them can really substitute for face-to-face exchanges. And today, we finally have this face-to-face meeting. From the initial contact and the establishment of diplomatic relations to today, China and the United States have gone through 50-plus eventful years. We've gained experience, and we've also learned lessons. History is the best textbook. So we should take history as a mirror and let it guide the future. Currently, the China-U.S. relationship
Sino-American relation is facing a lot of challenges.
Is in such a situation that we all care a lot about it, because this is not the fundamental interest of our two countries and peoples, and it is not what the international community expects us. As leaders of the two major countries, we need to chart the right course for the China-U.S. relationship. We need to find the right direction for the bilateral relationship going forward and elevate the relationship. A statesman should think about and know where to lead his country. He should also think about and know how to get along with other countries and the wider world. Well, in this time and age, great changes are unfolding in ways like never before. Humanity are confronted with unprecedented challenges. The world has come to a crossroads. Where to go from here? This is a question that is not only on our mind, but also on the mind of all countries. The world expects that China and the United States will properly handle the relationship. And for our meeting, it has attracted the world's attention. So we need to work with all countries to bring more hope to world peace, greater confidence in global stability, and stronger impetus to common development. In our meeting today, I'm ready to have a candid, as we always did, have a candid and in-depth exchange of views with you on issues of strategic importance in China-U.S. relations and on major global and regional issues. I look forward to working with you, Mr. President, to bring China-U.S. relations back to the track of healthy and stable growth to the benefit of our two countries and the world as a whole. Thank you.
Snooze burger in paradise.
So cameras are being pulled away at this point for that major meeting to take place on the sidelines of the G20. Biden talking about how important it is to keep those lines of communication open, and both of them being quite positive about this. Well, she was talking about a crossroads in the relationship, which the whole world is looking to them to negotiate.
Well, they'd have to be at this stage. I mean, those were just the opening remarks. And actually, despite it underscoring both of their intentions to try and start it out on a positive note, it did underscore the lack of relationship that exists, because they were scraping the barrel in, outlining the connections that they had, the fact that they called each other when they, respectively were affirmed as head of state. But let's bring in Ivan Watson and Stephen Zhang, who have been listening to that as well. Ivan, what were your first thoughts about those remarks that we heard from both leaders?
Right. Well, just on a cosmetic front, you note that everybody except the two leaders are wearing masks there, and that's a reflection of China and its dynamic zero COVID approach. Biden met with the Indonesian president, the host of the G20 summit, earlier today, and there the two delegations were not wearing masks. That's one difference. And we did hear Biden and, importantly, Xi Jinping saying that the world is paying attention to this meeting. The world wants some kind of movement forward and a dialogue, and to avoid basically bad things from happening. I think it's important to note that he talked about a crossroads. Xi Jinping, in February, when meeting with a man he's described as a close friend with no boundaries, the Russian President Vladimir Putin, they talked about establishing a new world order. They clearly chafe at the preeminent...
Dun, dun, dun! He said it. Wow, he said that's like in the movie where they look at the title of the camera. It's like, wow, it's Pineapple Express. Wow, I guess we're going to have a total recall. New World Order. Huh. No thoughts on that use of language at all, baby.
Position that the U.S. has had since World War II. Meanwhile, President Biden is coming to this meeting trying to establish new guidelines, as the White House has put it, to try to prevent a crisis from emerging between the U.S. and China. So it does sound like these two leaders are talking about some kind of new framework for interacting with each other, recognizing that what's been going on in the past simply isn't working.
Man, I don't think I'm going to have an appetite for dinner with all these nothing burgers we're loading up on. Amazing how calm they are during an earthquake. He really captured the tension with that camera shake. CNN must have hired the guy that recorded all the fights at school. LOL. All right, guys. Well, we are coming on the last video of the podcast. You know, this is pretty much the exact amount of time that all the other podcasts are. I like this new format. I think if a topic is worthy of lots of videos, then we could do that. But this is just giving a little bit of a taste of everything that's going on. And it works. So we got really short video here, 4 minutes on how to walk the narrow path of salvation. Very small channel, not a lot of views, not a lot of subs. I think I got a little bit of a monologue to follow up after, so let's just go ahead and learn a little bit about how to walk the narrow path of salvation.
We want this to dissuade us from two pitfalls. So maybe we could think of a right understanding of the whole picture of a Christian life, not just justification, but what flows out of it and where it ends. we could think of that as kind of a narrow mountain path that's beautiful, but if you're not careful, to the left and to the right, there's a very steep cliff. On one side is easy believism, where a person says, all you have to do is repeat after me or ask Jesus into your heart or just mentally accept, kind of nod your head to these Bible facts, and you think easy as can be. And then on the other side is hyper-Calvinism that says it's so hard, I dare not even try, because that would almost be kind of putting myself in God's place. No, I'm just going to wait until God does it. So clearly, the whole picture ought to move us to a desperation where we cry out to God and say, save me for your name's sake. But God, only you could save me. Look at, I would take all 14 things to God and say, I just read a sermon that said this. God, it's true. So I have no hope in me, but I have great hope in you, and I will not leave you alone until this kind of salvation is mine. John Bunyan, in his book, The Pilgrim's Progress, one of my all-time favorite scenes in that allegory comes at the early part of the book. Christian is setting out on his journey. He's just been converted. Pilgrim's just become a Christian. The burden is off his back, and he spends the night with a man named Interpreter. An interpreter takes him through a number of rooms in his house, and then he takes him out of his house to another scene where he's basically giving him lessons that he needs for the Christian life. You've got to understand this. And because Bunyan gives it in a picturesque way, these are scenes. One of the scenes that he views is a great palace, and inside the palace, the people are walking along the top, and they're clothed in golden garments, and they're happy and clean and joyful, and they represent a Christian. And they're in front of the palace is a group of armed men who prevent anyone from getting in there. Out in front of them is a man sitting at a desk with basically an ink pen and a book. And anyone that wants, anyone can come up and sign the book and then try to get through the men. If they can get through the men, they can get into the palace. And so everyone is afraid of the armed men, and Christian is kind of shocked that no one will even try. And then he sees a man with courage come up, signs his name, straps on his armor, runs into the men, and they go at it, and then he backs up and he goes again, and again he gives and receives many blows, and finally, through desperation, he breaks through, and the next scene, you see the man dressed in gold up top. Now, we're not talking about work salvation, that if I do well enough, Jesus lets me in. What Bunyan, the interpreter, says to Christian, do you understand this? He says, no, I understand this one. When a man has been made to see, when a young person has been made to see how great their need is and how great a Savior there is, it doesn't matter if there's 1,000 hurdles, 1,000 enemies in between me and Christ. I will rage against them until I have him.
I like the way that started out. I just kind of feel like, I don't know. I'm just going to go into my monologue. Let's read a couple of these comments. Brothers, love what you were doing. Please keep it up. Yeah, I definitely like the way that started out. I just felt like it wasn't so transparent at the end there. Beautifully said. You struck a healthy balance on a person's need to fully trust in the saving power of the Lord Jesus Christ, and our part to move in faith, knowing that he will redeem regardless of the hurdles that this alien existence may confront us with. Okay. So beautifully encouraging. Psalms 31, 23 through 24. Oh, love the Lord, all you, his saints, for the Lord preserves the faithful and fully repays the proud person. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart and all who hope in the Lord. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give these guys a sub and a like. I'll check them out some more. All right, friends. Let me end with some words here, because I feel like the tides are turning for the gang. We got to stop calling it a gang. That's one of the things. We just got to stop calling it a gang. FBI is very particular about words. That's not a word that they like. It's just so fun to just be edgy, isn't it? Isn't it so fun to be edgy? Isn't it so fun when I make fun of feminists and women and use edgy racist humor? We had some fun, guys. We had some fun. We had some laughs. But I can't help but feel like the intellectual side of my message is getting weighed down by the humor and the fun and the games that we play around here. These big agent people trying to intimidate me and my mom after we have a dinner out, that ain't games. That ain't fun and games. There's nothing funny about that. I don't know what it is particularly that got me feeling this way. I've been ready for a change for a long time, my friends. I believe we're all familiar with the term red pill rage. Okay? When you wake up at first, it's like you're having a bad acid trip. It's like, whoa, I'm seeing things in a way that I've never seen them before. I'm seeing all these truths. Look at this truth. Look at this truth. Oh, like you're freaking out, dude. Red pill rage. It's not just rage. Like a lot of it is rage. A lot of it is confusion, sadness, depression, chaos. It's a lot, okay? Analogies that are good are tired and beaten dead. It's like taking the red pill and leaving the Matrix. I've left the Matrix. I've seen the real world that we're not supposed to know exists, and it freaked me out, and it made for a lot of chaos. I'm ready to accept things the way that they are, because guess what? Before you woke up, the world was still crazy. These problems were all here before you knew about them, okay? A lot of people feel cozy about the 90s or their childhood. Just because you didn't know the problems were there doesn't mean they weren't there. A lot of what needs to be said has already been said. It's a competition of who can look the least childish, and I'll tell you what, guys, a lot of people are behind in the race. It's up for grabs. The title for the most mature movement is absolutely up for grabs. So I'm ready to take it. I'm ready to take that title. And, you know, they already got dirt on me. When you're trying to take on the bad guys, you're going to screw up, man. And I did screw up. And it's time to stop screwing up. It's time to start fighting the good fight, you guys. So, moving forward, I really don't want to do any more 10-hour streams. I gotta stop with the whole, you know, like, I feel like there's still a lot of women bashing that goes on around here. There's still a lot of edgy racial humor that goes on around here. I can't control what you guys do, but I can control what I do. And I find myself getting frustrated because I think, I know a lot of people see it. I know a lot of people see that we're about something really positive here. We're about something very positive and holy. And we got to kick it over into overdrive. I, as the leader, need to kick it into overdrive. It might even be time for some sort of a rebranding. Like I said, the gang stuff has got to go. We used to be Wasp Gang. We were Wolf Gang. It might be time for whatever's next. It might be time for whatever's next, but I'm not really in a rush to figure that out. It's time to grab that title, guys, to be the most mature movement. Antifa is insufferable. Black Lives Matter is insufferable. The Proud Boys are insufferable. The alt-right is insufferable. A lot of people are blowing it. And everybody's trying to, like, are these shootings real? Is Kanye real? Is this real? Everything is an actor. Everything's an agent. I don't know what to believe anymore. The satanic machine has been on for a long time, you guys, but the gears, it just keeps kicking into different gears. And I think everybody can tell that we kicked into a different gear in 2020. We kicked into a really serious gear in 2020. It's on, okay? The depopulation machine is on, and what you are seeing around you is real evil. You are seeing real evil. Make no mistake about it. Like, Persecution on a high level is evil. Vicious racism is evil. Vicious anti-Semitism is evil. Make no mistake about it. The Nazis killed a lot of Jews. Like, the Holocaust happened. I don't know why I feel the need to put it in air quotes, but some really despicable things have happened in history, and history repeats itself. And if you ask me, it's kind of like in the Matrix. I'm sorry, the Matrix. Everything's the Matrix. It's like in the Matrix where it's like, hey, I just saw the same exact cat twice. Tell me exactly what you saw. When there's like a glitch in the Matrix, it means the Smiths are nearby. It means bad things are coming. We're seeing spurgouts, dude. People are acting weird. Politicians are acting weird. Antifa's acting weird. Weird things are happening. I don't know if Kanye's the real deal. I don't know how many of the shootings are real and how many of them aren't. Things are spurging out, guys. Things are twitching. The system is malfunctioning. Weird things are happening. Weird things are coming. Evil things are coming. And the evil wants to drag you down with it. That's why I like Star Wars. I've said it a number of times because Anakin Skywalker started out as something very good. He was doing things for the right reasons, and he got drugged down by his hatred of evil. I like the Cave of Wonders analogy in the Aladdin. Really, it's not even really what Aladdin was trying to say. I just use it. This is my imposing my own metaphor onto the Cave of Wonders. The straight and narrow path is that you must touch nothing but the lamp. Okay, it's very tempting. It's like the jewels, the diamonds, the gold, and it's a long path to that lamp. And there's a lot of temptations on the way. And every time that you grab a handful of gold, every time that you touch the diamonds, it's a mistake, and it's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt your image. It's all around us, you guys. Yes, it's time to get over it. The Bible is really real. The evil is really all around us, just like the Bible says. We've known this for a long time, and it's time to stop acting like it's a huge deal. This is just what it is. It's time to be calm. It's time to live your life. It's time to, stop being like, oh, everything's too crazy. I just can't live my life. I just can't do what responsible people do because it's just too damn crazy out there. You got to live with it. You got to be abouty. You got to be about it, you guys. Okay? It's time to start having inertia. It's time to stop being so easily moved by the things around you. Antifa's going to spit in your face, and if you knock them out, it's not going to make you look good. But nothing. Antifa is going to yell in your face, spit in your face. Black Lives Matter is going to just hit you over the head with their sign, and you just got to take it. You just got to endure it. But why? Because just like the Joker in Batman, did you really think the Battle of Gotham City was going to be about a fist fight with you? No, it's much more sophisticated. It's much deeper than the Joker getting in a fist fight with Batman, because Batman is an incredible hero. No, he took Harvey Dent. He took Gotham's finest. Somebody that everybody can understand. People don't understand Batman. Batman, because he's not a hero. He's a silent guardian. He's a watchful protector. Harvey Dent was a mainstream hero, and he took him and he drug him down. And that's what they want to do to me, and that's what they want to do to you. And the process has already started, and I already blew it. You already blew it, because guess what? We really are up against elements of the FBI and the CIA and the fraternal orders. These are tough enemies. These are tough opponents. And I did not win a flawless victory. I did not effortlessly tap dance and defeat everybody. No, bro. They got exactly what they wanted. They drugged me down. They got video of me acting like a buffoon. Okay? They already got some big shots in. That's what happens when you take on tough opponents. It's time to start winning, you guys. And the thing is like this scary stuff that's going on in my life, when I get my act together, when I stop blowing it, when I never go on racist rants, when I never go on misogynistic rants, when I never do things wrong, that's when I will start fearing for my life. Okay? But it is what it is. I decided to take a stand. I pushed myself all in. And this is what it is, guys. I got to start being a professional. I got to start doing things right. We got to stop blowing it. You're blowing it out here. I knew you guys were blowing it out here. I can't control you guys. You know, I like harmless stuff. Sketty, skitty, sco. That stuff is like, you know, funny. Stuff gets tired. It's easy for jokes to get tired. At the end of the day, guys, this ain't a joke. This movement ain't a joke. And I think I got a lot of you guys here with the memes and the jokes. I'm ready to get serious. So that's pretty much what it is, guys. This is a peaceful movement. I don't think any other movements are peaceful. Like I said, the title's up for grabs. Everybody's blowing it. Everybody's in their feelings. Everybody's in their emotions. And I've been in my emotions maybe more than anybody ever. You've seen that I'm a very emotional guy. Pay close attention to what's going to happen from this moment on, because what I'm about to become, the credit does not go to me. The credit goes to Jesus Christ. The credit goes to the Most High. You guys are awesome. It's been a pleasure working with you. No chill streams for tonight. Man, my TV over here, it's on a swivel. TV is on a swivel. I turned it to the side, and it's facing that beanbag chair that's in the corner. Man, I can have my laptop over there. I can have my drinks over there. The kitties are chilling with me over there. That beanbag is fire, flames, loving the beanbag chair. Life is good. I got a little bit of marijuana. I'm going to try to keep making videos. I got to push myself, man. It's not like, oh, if I smoke, that's it. I can't make videos anymore. I can't keep it going. I have to. But I got such a terrible sleep last night. I think that's really the thing that's tapping me out with weed. I want to get a good sleep. So I'll see you guys tomorrow for a coffee stream. I appreciate you. And what I want from you guys is to be good people, bro. Okay? Jesus doesn't want you to like bash women super hard. He doesn't want you to say horrible things about people. There are flaws with women. There are flaws with certain minority groups that are regularly persecuted. You need to not be brought down by your frustration with these people. Everybody's blowing it, man, okay? Relationships going to crap. It's not just women. It's not just men. Evil is all around us, okay? You need to stop looking at this world like, oh, everything's normal. Everything's normal. Suggesting that anything outside of the ordinary is a conspiracy theory. No, man, this is a sci-fi movie. This is God's sci-fi movie. Crazy, wacky things that are well beyond your comprehension are happening all around us. And whatever you do from this point on, it's on you, brother. It's on you. Just like all the clips are on me, okay? Oh, I was stressed out. People were doing stuff to me. I was being harassed. Nobody cares, bro. And why does nobody care? Because people are petty. People are petty. Excuses. We're Rambo. We're Chuck Norris. We're Sylvester Stallone. We're Charles Bronson, okay? We're better. We're better than that. Be better. Be the change you want to see in the world. With great power comes great responsibility. We're Uncle Ben in it in this bitch, all right? God bless you, my friends. I appreciate you. Have a cozy night, and I'll see you